Welcome back to Just Got Played. We are here today to talk about our January top plays. It's the first month of the year. Welcome 2023. Yay! It is your host here, Jim Jam. I got Steven somewhere in here, and I got Erock, and I got a Tiffany. So I hope everybody is starting the new year off strong and got like 30 games right off the bat. Get that list started. You know, that whole list of you got to do like 100 games and play like each of them twice or something. Some people do that. I don't do that. But I started my year off very well. But I'm going to let somebody else go first. Let's go with Erock.
Okay, so first of all, we do have a 10 by 10 board. I just want to say that.
I figured.
My sister actually gave it to us one year for Christmas. We have repeatedly failed to fill out our 10 by 10 board. I told Babe we actually need a 2 by 50 board because that is way more our style. It's just really hard to get 10 games 10 times to the table the way we play games. So we actually switched it up this year. We started brand new. I know I'm way off on a tangent here, but welcome to the great adventure, everybody. So what we're doing this year is we're actually doing a 10 by 10 of games we play digitally. So we have a much higher chance, we figure, of getting that to fill out on this because we do tend to play the same games a lot online. And I mean, a lot of that has to do with, the setup and all of that's just taken care of so easily. We could rip out 10 games of Race for the Galaxy in like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Not that we've done that, but I'm saying, we could. Anyway, about the 10 by 10 challenge, we're going back to... I'm sorry, Steven.
This is ironic because you're about to list the best game you played in January and you're going to play it 10 times this year.
I am going to play it 10 times this year?
I'm just guessing.
He's calling it now.
Yeah.
We're gonna get the bets.
It is. That's not fair. Yes, you're right. It is ironic because my choice is going to be played 10 times this year. So my choice for my top play of January of 2023 is Adventure Tactics Domianne's Tower. Babe and I just started this game with Jacoby when he was here with us last time, and we got through 3 adventures, I think, and then some stuff in between adventures. For those of you who don't know, this is a campaign game. It's a campaign game. It's linear, as it were. There's an adventure book, and the choices that you make may take you on branching paths, but you follow the book as it goes. It's really fairly simple as far as these kinds of games go, which makes it way more accessible, I believe, and it was a lot easier to get everybody into the game and playing. Because usually it takes, an hour and a half or so just to get everything going on. And I lose people in the rules, and especially 13-year-olds who are having a hard time following along as it is. But this one, I feel like we got going pretty fast. Now, to be fair, we spent a whole night unboxing it and organizing it. But after that was accomplished, then we began the game. And like I said, we played like 3 adventures in one day. There was we went to town and a couple other things in between. One of the really cool things about this is basically everything that you do, you level up at the end. And that's just really cool. It keeps you engaged. One of the people in our 3-man group is really averse to losing, and it really gets under his skin. And he tried to never mind that. This is what really happened. And we just weren't having it in a very joking way. It's like, yeah, well, that's ha ha ha. Sometimes you lose. And he ran off after that. But then Dave started working on her level up, and it reeled him back in because everybody wants to level up. That's what the whole point. That's what makes everything fun. That's why you play campaign games, is so that you can level up your character, make some choices, craft them into what you want to be. And this game's super awesome for that too, because you're not pigeonholed into anything. You can be anything. You want to start out as a fighter? Cool. Now you can level fighter if you want to, or you want to be something else? Be something else. You want to be a mage? Cool. You can be a fighter and a mage. Now you're both of those things. And they have these elite specializations in there, which have a defined prerequisite of things you need to have before that. So this number's not going to be right. I know I'm wrong, so tell me I'm wrong in the comments and all that. But as a for instance, you might want to be a battle mage. And to be a battle mage, you need 2 fighter levels and a mage level and a cleric level maybe. And that's how you get there. So you want to do all these different classes to build up as you start going, because what you're doing is you got your eye on these elite specializations that are just awesome. Battle mages and assassins and all kinds of things like this.
Yeah.
What?
Shaman.
And a shaman, which somebody we know is going to spec into. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty standard as far as the combat goes when you're in one of the adventures. But again, it's pretty simplified as far as a lot of things go. It's a lot of fun. We like playing it with Jacoby, and we've had a lot of fun. So that's and yes, Steven, you are correct. Assuming we actually do round this out, we will play this at least 10 times, which could have made our 10 by 10 list in a previous year. The problem was we could get 2 or 3 of them done, and we could never get the other one done. And it was always the campaign games. You know what I'm saying? Like Betrayal, we checked that one off. Betrayal, Legacy, we got that one done. But then the rest of them was like we played things 2-3 times in a whole year. So anyway, please wish us luck in our digital 10 by 10 challenge. And I believe that's all I have to say. Adventure Tactics, Domianne's Tower, yay!
I almost picked this game for my January as well. And I really like this game. My kids love this game. They love leveling up. We are almost finished with it, actually. We have 1 or 2 scenarios left in the campaign. I personally combined a couple levels of Monk with Demon Slayer, which is a pretty cool combination because the passive abilities of the Monk and the class feature card from the Monk that you can, have work really well with the Demon Slayer. And yeah, so it's just cool that you can just combine stuff like that.
Yeah, you just combine, do whatever you want, whatever you feel like.
All right. Well, I am very jealous. Now I need to look this up. I think we mentioned it earlier before in some other video, but now I really want to. I don't even know what you guys are really talking about. I just heard you can get a skill tree and build up classes. I'm in. I don't even care. So
if you have like 3 free hours, you can watch my unboxing of it on the channel.
Yes. He's not kidding.
It's not that long, but it is long for an
unboxing. Go back and watch that unboxing on the channel along with our other videos.
I'm just saying,
just watch all top plays of all last year. We broke this
out on a Friday night, and we're like, all right, let's break this out, and we'll get a game in tonight. Nope. It took all night to break that game out and organize it and put it back in the box.
Wow. Okay. Well, I love doing that, so I'll make sure I get all the sleeves and everything. I'll do all that stuff. I do all the extra bits. It's all about the tchotchkes and looking fancy. So, with Erock's top play for January, we are going to move on to the next person, and let's go, Steven.
All right. Well, so I went with a classic. I mentioned I've played Adventure Tactics, my most played game of 2023 so far, Adventure Tactics. Ooh. But the game session where I had the most fun is my favorite Uwe Rosenberg game, which goes up to 7 players, and I like to play it at 7 players. Because everybody just has a lot of fun. It's pretty quick. And that is Bohnanza.
Oh, Bohnanza.
Everybody forgets Bohnanza is a Uwe Rosenberg game, right? But it's farming. How do you not know that all farming games are Uwe games?
Right.
So Bohnanza is the game of bean farming. That's what you do on your turn. You plant a bean from your hand into one of the fields in front of you. And then you optionally plant a second one. And then you turn over some beans from the deck and you can trade those with people if you want. And then, or you have to plant them if you don't trade them. And then you draw some cards and that's the end of your turn. Super exciting, right? So what's interesting about this game, one of the most interesting mechanisms in the game is that you don't get to reorder the cards in your hand. So it's like a queue. If a card goes in at the back and then eventually it works its way to the front and then you play it out the front. But if you're trading with people, you could trade from any position in your hand. And when you trade a card out of your hand to somebody and they trade a card back to you, you don't take the card that they gave you and put it in your hand. You have to plant it immediately. And you have limited space to plant stuff. So if you are sitting there and you've got some valuable bean fields that you're working on and you want to add more cards to those fields to score the most points, by the time it gets around to your turn, you're going to have to plant that first card in the front of your hand. So you need to have either gotten rid of cards that you don't want so that the first card in your hand is something you want to put in your field, or you need to have traded for the beans you need to maximize that field to harvest it before it's your turn. So there's all kinds of reasons that this game makes you trade, essentially. I mean, it's so ridiculous that a trade like, hey, Erock, I'll trade you my red bean for your red bean. And that's a good deal for both of us. Right? Because, you may just, I may have a red bean in the back of my hand that I want to plant it, but I can't. So I'm going to trade it away to somebody else who has a bean so that I can plant it now so I can harvest it. And, there's all kinds of weird logistics like that. And this game could be totally chaotic, but it has a rule that you can only trade with the person whose turn it is. And that person can't trade with somebody and then trade the card that they just got away to somebody else. They have to plant it. So, because this game would just be a logistical mess, thing going on if it didn't have those specific rules. So, it feels like somebody maybe play tasted it 100 times and made sure that the trading rules work to go along with this weird hand management stuff that you have. But yeah, you're planting beans and you're harvesting them, and that's the game. Bohnanza. Go play it. It's from 1997. It's been around forever. And there's a billion expansions for this game. Not really, but probably 20. I play with none of them. I don't need any of them. They're unnecessary. I like the base game.
Yeah, I played the base game and it was a lot of fun. It was a quick game to learn, and everyone just was able to get their cards and get going. And it was a lot of fun. I remember really enjoying that game. So, yeah.
Is it your favorite Uwe Rosenberg game too?
No, probably not. But to each their own, for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember names. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Beans. All right. Bohnanza beans. Bohnanza and beans. That's an interesting. All right. So, yeah. Well, that's Steven's pick. We got 2 down, 2 to go, and Tiffany spoke up, so she can go next.
All right. So my top play for January was not a new to me game, but it had been a very long time since I had played it, probably years. So I'm just gonna tell you, it's Soul Last Days of a Star. This is a game that I played forever ago, with a friend of mine. It's Eric's friend, really, but, his name is Mark. He taught us this game and we played it one time with him. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this game. This is super cool. In it, you are battling against these different, I think, species of creatures, of inhabitants of the solar system. And you are all trying to harness the power from the sun before it explodes. And apparently in this game, there's only one survivor when the sun is going to explode, and there will be only one survivor. And it better be you. You better have gotten the most points, the fastest, so that when the sun explodes, you're not dead. But you basically are trying to build up your presence around the sun in one of 4 different space station type locations. So you're trying to build these out in outer space, and there's I'm not a super science person, so I apologize. I'm going to fumble through this, but they have layers of the sun. So you go through the outer layer, and then you have to work your way in to the inner layer. And then you get the most points for being at the middle of the sun, which is the hottest and most powerful. And so if you actually get lots of points, if you just create these little fighter ships and navigate them to the middle of the sun and throw them into the middle of the sun, you get tons of points for that. So, but that's not the only way to get points. There's also, you can build a space station and send your guys to activate all of your point earning space stations, and you create them, and then you send a little fighter jet out to them, and then you activate them and you get points. So you kind of have to it's a definitely, I think it's an engine building game, because you have to set yourself up so that you're generating these resources, whether it's energy or more fighter jets, so that you can then build up your presence, because to build the bigger space station type things that are out there, it costs more fighter jets. The fighter jets are what are combined to create these bigger space station type things. And that space station thing may generate energy, or it may generate more space fighters, or it might generate points. But it all takes these resources. And so you're trying to gather them. You're trying to balance between building those resources versus generating those fighter pilots and generating points so that nobody gets too far ahead. It's a really great game, and it's a lot of fun. And the very first time I played it, I fell in love with it. And then when we played it the other day, I was just like, this is such a great game. I really enjoy it. And it used to be super impossible to get your hands on, but they recently just did a second run on Kickstarter. So it should be a little bit more attainable now. That Kickstarter has closed, but it's at least there should be more copies in the market and available. And you might even, be able to find a copy in your friendly local game store if they like to get stuff from Kickstarter and back brick and mortar Kickstarter type things. So it's definitely a lot of fun, super fun if you like space stuff. So yeah, check it out. That's Sol, S-O-L.
I'll grant you that it's kind of an engine builder, but it's a shared engine builder because you're not making, all right, I can make stuff and use my own stuff, but that's not really how this game works. When I make something, anybody can use it. And then if you use my building, I get a bonus for you using it. You know what I'm saying? If you use my gates, I get a bonus for that. But the nature of the game is such that you want to do that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of games where other people can use your stuff and nobody ever does because why bother? I'm just giving this other guy points. In this game, the way the game is structured, you really do want to use other people's stuff. And it's because you can only activate one type of building on a turn. So it's almost impossible for me to get it is impossible for me to get 4 energy extractors out there. But I can activate 4 or 5 on a turn, mine and everybody else's out there. And it doesn't even bother me that they're gonna get some off of this as kind of the bonus because I'm gonna get a ton. You know what I'm saying? The more I activate, the more I'm getting. And if you get a little bit, that's fine. And that's basically how this game plays, just generally speaking. And so I think it's a really good shared building and experience. And then the utilization of that as it goes. And the game plays into this because, I'm sorry, I don't mean to steal all your thunder, babe, but when you take your turn, your ships are orbiting around the sun. So when you take a turn, you move it around the sun a little bit. So in 3 or 4 turns, you're not where you were before. So you're now where somebody else has built stuff. So you can continue to build a little bit off of their stuff, to make a deeper path into the sun or whatever. But it's impossible for you to do everything yourself in one little section of the board because you're never in that one section of the board. You just keep moving around the sun as the game goes on. So it really encourages that cooperative engine building in the middle while you're playing this competitive game to see who can get the most points, which is basically siphoning the most energy off the sun. It's really awesome.
That's interesting. I was, when you were first explaining it, I was sort of geeking out over it, thinking, capture all energy from a sun, Dyson sphere, Kardashev scale level 2 kind of stuff. But then I was throwing fire ships into the inner layers, what? All right, okay, this is different. Interesting.
As the resident space guy, I'm pretty sure that piqued your ears a lot there, so I'm not surprised. But I, too, am a little bit of a space nerd. So I liked what you're saying. And you know what? I think you sold me on the game. So
add it to the list.
So I definitely want to check it out. I've seen it. And, I saw the box. It didn't look too interesting. But since that very in-depth review of the game, I'm probably going to try to check it out because I still see it around every now and then. So I'm going to hop on board when somebody wants to play it.
Is this the one where the box cover looks like a crappy Amazon puzzle?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks all right, but yeah.
That's the thing I think is what's the picture on the cover of the box.
Yeah, they definitely got to do that, especially when you have so many games to play, like the one I'm going to talk to you about. Now, I got to go back because this was way back on the New Year's Day, gaming day, first day of the year playing games. And one of the games I played right at the start of the year was Encyclopedia. Encyclopedia is pretty much like back in the day, kids, there was these little books that had a big old letter on it. And then, and there was other books in that whole series there had other letters on there. And then everything that was in the book that was talked about started with that same letter that was on the front of the book. And there was people that would go around and they would sell these things. They would come up to your door I know, scary, right? COVID times, random strangers coming to your door, knock on your door, and trying to sell these books. Those are called salesmen, encyclopedia salesmen. So some person, I don't know names, decided to make a game based on making an encyclopedia. So that's pretty much all it is in the game. It's not so much like industrial stuff. It's specifically just for the animal parts of it. So you're going around discovering different animals, and then you're going and you're publishing your encyclopedia. You're posting your findings, and I don't remember exactly how the theme was. You actually make the encyclopedia, but you're publishing it so somebody can make an encyclopedia. So there were different actions you can take to go out to the jungle, and then you had to write it down in your little book, and then you had to take your book and you had to go publish it. So I know it sounds very dry, but the game was very intense because you were camping. But you go around and you find the animals, and that's basically it. You had to take your turn. I mean, I can't really explain because it sounds very boring when you talk about it, but it's like if you're an animal nerd, you're a science nerd, you would like this type of game. It's very dry, but it was entertaining. Some of us in the channel don't really like the games where you have to sit there and think on your turn for a good 10 minutes, but it's definitely one of those games because you have to maximize it. Otherwise, you're not going to get as much points. There's ways to do a bunch of actions all at one time, but you have to spend a couple turns setting that up. And then you really want to do that before you do that action so you can get the most out of it before the game is over. So definitely check it out if you like animals. There's a lot of animal-based games, and it's definitely a very thinky game. Play it with your veteran board game friends because it's probably not going to be a very newbie board game because it's very thinky. So not very party at all. Not too much take that, but you can kind of screw people a little bit. But definitely one of the Jim Jams kind of games where you just kind of got to think about what you're doing and set everything up. Encyclopedia, very thematic. So I liked it because we're going through the themes right now. So very good. Yeah, so that rounds up. Anybody?
I like that theme of encyclopedia, right? I mean, now these days we're all just drowning in information, internet connected devices, everything. There's just information 24/7 bombarding your face. But back in the day, encyclopedias were like really interesting bricks of information,
Literally bricks. Yes.
We had them when I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean, they've still got them, right? They still have them at the library.
They're all digital. They're all online now.
Somewhere, but
I was confused this whole time. I did not know what you were talking about. Now I understand. You meant encyclopedia.
Yeah, we had the Encyclopedia Britannica.
The Encyclopedia.
As opposed to everybody who had the Encyclopedia World Book, World Book.
Yeah, that's what we had, World Book.
We had Encyclopedia Britannica.
Encyclopedia, yes.
That's the one with the gold pages, right? That we had those on there. The gold pages, yeah.
Ours actually
green and the
gold. Yes.
Yeah. Green and the white. But anyways, let us know in the comments what you think of our picks. Tell us what your top picks for January are. And that pretty much wraps it up for everybody. Anybody else got anything they want to say? More soul puns? Anything? Okay. All right. So we are going to finish this video, and then I don't know about anybody else. I'm very excited for February. Everybody's got all their Kickstarter. Ooh, somebody said Kickstarter. Games coming in. They're on the docks. So hopefully you will finally hear me say I'm playing like one of the 5 games I've been waiting 2 years for. I don't know about anybody else. Good.
Oh.
Finally. Oh yeah. So yeah, some of the games are coming in, and a couple, hopefully we'll be very excited for February. But let us know what you think. Come into the Discord. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. What else am I in? What am I?
Thumbs. Subscribe,
all that. You comment on here, comment on social media. Come to the Discord. I will be in the Discord. Just come to the Discord. Don't worry about anything. Just come to the Discord. And then subscribe, share, comments all down below. Check us out. Turn those notifications on because you don't want to miss a month. It's going to be a very exciting year. I don't know if 2023, all your shipments are coming in. I'm calling it now. Sprinkle a little magic on there, okay? A little Jim Jam magic. Everybody's getting all their stuff, okay? But bye for now. See y'all later. Everybody say bye. We'll catch you next month. Bye.